All right, welcome to the Daily Dose with Dustin Diggs. I'm here with filmmaker James Dean. I got like a little, there we go. You can wear the headphones if you want, you don't have to. That's his headphones, yours are right there. And
what's up, man?
Brian Davis, stunt choreographer, here to promote their new film, and we'll click to it right here. And the title of it, go ahead, James, tell me what the title is, because it's the
Fontaine and the Vengeful Nun That Wouldn't Die. Who wouldn't die?
I watched the trailer. We'll play the trailer right now for the audience so they can kind of jump into what Brian's film's about right here.
James.
It's cool. I get tickled every time I see the trailer anyway.
Oh, okay, good.
With crime. Corrupt clergy.
Don't let the frog fool you.
And goddamn Nazis.
I cannot begin to tell you how wet that makes me.
It's up to one nun to make sure God's vengeance is done. Fontaine and the Vengeful Nun Who Would Not Die.
There it is, folks. And the big premiere is September 21st, which is Tuesday. And it's going to be at the drive-in theater at
Bellevue.
Skyview Drive. Skyview Drive, yeah. Definitely, when I watch it, I can tell that you've been influenced by Quentin Tarantino. I'm just taking a wild guess here.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah. Funny enough, so I love Tarantino, but
Right.
I started digging into what influenced him, and I do love Tarantino, but I love his influences even more, I feel like. And so like you go back to like 60s and 70s exploitation films and even 80s.
Yeah.
And then you start digging into those, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot there to go through, obviously.
Oh, much.
Yeah.
At least 30 years worth?
Oh, pull that mic closer
Yeah.
to you,
Yeah.
Brian. I'm sorry.
Yeah, easily.
It extends.
Okay.
It extends. I should have did this before we started.
No, you're fine.
Closer, better you sound to the audience. So yeah. So.
Hey, everybody.
Now your mic sounds nice.
It's Friday.
But you're saying you were researching his old films that he used to watch and rip on.
Yeah. And I mean, like he's watched everything, like everything from kung fu movies to 60s and 70s exploitation. I mean, and
Spaghetti westerns.
Yeah. It really runs it's everything, you know. And I love like including all that into one package and not being just one thing, and doing whatever the story needs to be. You know? Like I'm not a big fan of boxes in general, so like, I mean, I get that things are marketed and pushed in a certain very specific way to appeal to the greatest number of people, but if I want to have a kung fu moment, that's why Brian Davis is on set. He can do the kung fu,
This is true.
Yeah.
And Brian, what's your background? So you grew up learning what types of taekwondo?
Ooh.
I mean, what's the right terminology that I should say here?
Well, no, you're fine. It's a different martial arts. So kung fu, that was one. Then Muay Thai, something called Muay Baran, which is another form of, I guess the original traditional form of Muay Thai, kickboxing. And then Salat, I did MMA for about 6 or 7 years. Yeah, so then now, of course, I'm doing stunts and everything. So yeah, I've been doing it since I was around 5.
And stunts, I mean, there's a lot to learn with stunts because you watch Jackass, but those guys are all really trained stunt people. They know how to do the tumbling and stuff is really important in stunts. That way you don't get hurt.
Yeah, I don't like getting hurt, so
yeah,
I take my time.
Do you do like parkour and stuff like that?
No,
I
do not do parkour. So please don't try to call me, ask me to jump over any buildings or anything like that. I'm in my 40s. Things hurt when I wake up. Yeah, blink. It's cool. I mean, on film it looks great.
We do have Ron Clower in the movie.
Yes,
and he
we have people for that.
Yeah, it's amazing, just like the parkour he can do. He showed me, so he was in the short film and he had a small role, and that was like a prequel to the feature that we just made.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like we were just talking, he's sending me all these videos, and he sent me a video of him running, doing a flip over a car where he touched it with 2 fingers.
Yeah.
So he basically did a flip where he literally touched the car with 2 fingers, and he just like completely like a freaking Superman or something.
Right, right.
He's a walking bicep. That's what he is. Everything, he has nothing but core muscle. That's all he is. And I'm like, dude, I can't do it. So
Not even back in your 20s, you don't.
no, I can kick people really, really hard.
Oh, yeah.
And punch them really, really hard. But no flips. That's just not me.
When I watch your trailer, it reminds me of the movie Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah.
You like that movie?
Yeah. I mean, Rutger Hauer?
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. That's one of my favorites that he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has a kind of a cult kind of look to it, like your style,
Right?
Which is neat, and I like that. Just kind of go into how you come up with the characters, why nuns, why them fighting, where did this idea come from?
Well, okay, so originally the idea came from a real life situation that's actually pretty sad. And then I kind of ran with that and took it in a different direction. So the short film was written by Louis Otero, who's a buddy of mine, and the feature was we co-wrote together. So I want to make sure I put that out there. So we worked on it together. So the idea that initially sparked everything was there was a young girl. You can Google this. It's a true story. She was on tons of drugs. And I mean, like, we're not talking about marijuana here. We're talking about hard stuff. And she was also from a very religious family. And she kept thinking that she was hearing God talk to her. And she thought God told her, did I tell you this story, Brian?
No, I'm listening.
She
Interesting.
she thought God was telling her to sacrifice her eyes. So she ripped her eyes out and destroyed them. And this is, like I said, it's really sad and horrible, but she said it saved her life, right? The fact that she did this, and she's clean now, and she's, I guess happy and healthy. But so I thought to myself, like, what if someone goes through some kind of trauma that bothers them or gets them such to a degree that they just lose their shit to no extent, to no end. And in the short film, Mary, the maniac nun, she loses her sister. So we kind of changed it up a little bit, but she rips her eye out and she crushes it in front of the priest. And that's in the short film.
Wow.
And that's why she has an eye patch, because
Right.
Yeah.
And you show that in the feature, though, right? That could show that she.
It's in one of the trailers, I think.
Okay.
Really
I think that's
quickly.
the
It might be the second one. It may not be the
trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the full length trailer.
Yeah.
So just go back on your history. You grew up. Is this your first feature film? Is this?
It is my first feature film.
Yeah.
I've made, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 short films. Most of them are on YouTube. Most of them aren't great, if I'm being honest. I'm also very critical on myself.
I think every every artist kind of like, I don't like to look at my old stuff. Like, I don't even like looking at the podcast I did last night. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this is definitely, as a collective whole, this is the best thing that I've ever contributed to with regards to like an artistic endeavor. And I think it's the preparation, the time involved, and the people involved, and like the pre-production. Like it's always skimmed over, I feel like. And in our case, we didn't skim over it. We spent so long in pre-production, just making sure everything was ready. And if
You're talking locations, costumes, the right cast, right?
everything all the way on down the line, and also like even just writing. I feel like a lot of people write a first draft and they're like, "Let's go make it." Well, no, let's slow down a second here. Let's get some notes. Let's get some feedback from writers and from also non-writers and from people that know the genre. And let's see what other people think about this. And I mean, I love the enthusiasm, and but don't just go make whatever, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
especially if you're spending a lot of money on it.
Right.
Really, either way, you know. So yeah, I mean, so the short film was made, and then after the short film came out, I definitely noticed that it kind of appealed to some people. Like, it's very niche, right? Obviously, this is not for everybody,
Right.
you know.
It's kind of like what's the
At all.
Abraham Lincoln vampire killer kind of genre. And I don't know if it's
One of
that
my
type of
favorite
thing,
movies.
right? But it has a niche audience. People are like,
Yes.
"Well, what the hell is this?" Kind of like when they probably watch the same thing, they're like, "Nuns and vengeance." Okay, let's see what this is all about. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, but yeah, you were asking about pre-production. It just takes a lot of time. You know, if you want to do things right, it takes a lot of time.
Well, to be able to save a lot of money and get the best production quality for your money, you got to be prepped, because
Yeah.
it's like when you get to a location, you really don't have time anymore to kind of like rehearse and get all this shot right. You pretty much know what you're going to get. You know what you're there to do. Everybody should be on the same page and
Right.
get in, get out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think having regular meetings and in a lot of ways, I think directing, and this is something I'll definitely continue to evolve as I do more projects, but most directing should take place offset, I think. If an adjustment needs to be made, sure. But like, I love talking with actors and seeing what their insights are and then what I'm needing for that scene. And then us discussing all that ahead of time, because on set, micro indie budget, time is not something you have much of.
No.
And go
So
south.
yeah, and if you're spending that time like going through character and motive and all that,
Right.
that stuff could have been taken care of a month ago.
Plus, you're gonna have to deal with like all the other environments, something going wrong with technical or something. There always seems to be something going wrong with that. And you're talking about prepping. So when you did your fight choreography, like how many hours would it take to rehearse a scene before you actually went to set and filmed it?
Ooh, let's see. What was the longest? You know what? It would range. It wouldn't necessarily be. The actors and actresses would come in and train for hours and hours. But we had moments where sometimes you had a couple of actors that it just didn't look right. So we'd have to kind of critique a couple of little small things, and I'd say roughly some of the choreography normally would take about hour, two and a half hours to come up with something solid. Mm-hmm. With other productions, it could take way longer. This one, it wasn't a really. It was a close knit family. And so I mean, I didn't really consider it a production. So everybody was really, really nice. Everybody was confident about what they were doing. They knew what to expect. I knew what to expect from them. So it really wasn't a real bad production. So it made it a little bit easier. So it didn't really take too long.
I think what Brian's trying to say here is that in the past,
I apologize.
he's had a little bit of pushback, but with me and with my DP, we know that he's the expert in this area. I may want a karate chop, but he may say, "Hey, I know you want a karate chop, James, but the karate chop's not going to be sold in this scene the way you're trying to shoot it." So
it's a lot of egos,
right? So we find a new way to shoot it,
yeah,
or we just don't do the karate chop, And
right.
again, we don't have a $10 million budget. We don't have a team of choreographers. We have an amazing choreographer, but we don't have a team of amazing choreographers,
Right.
So, having Brian on set is just invaluable because, he gives us that feedback, and then we can kind of, and most of the time that can all be worked out in pre-production also.
When you're working that pre-production, so you guys are probably working out the blocking and the way the choreography, and then are you on there with the camera knowing how to sell it, that you and the DP saying, okay, well, this karate chop or whatever we want to do here, from this angle it looks good, if this might look kind of, we can, ways you're going to sell it, so when you go in and shoot it, you know what kind of angle to get that certain.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was with this production. Mm-hmm. Normally, with me doing what I do as a fight choreographer, stunt coordinator, a lot of indie films, the production, like the cinematographer or the let's see, who else? Hell, even the sound guy. Sometimes you might have a moment where you guys have to interact. You have to talk to him. You have to do playback, and sometimes it just doesn't go that way. You don't interact positively.
Mm-hmm.
Egos tend to start combating one another, and I never like productions like that. But I'm getting paid for it, so I gotta do it. But this one, I really enjoyed every little bit. I mean, heck, you saw as soon as we were in production. I mean, heck, I'd always come in, smile. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm ready to do this.
Even if Brian wasn't needed on set, he would always show up for food.
This
always.
is true.
Good. Well, food is good. Yeah. Food is good.
It's positive. It's a positive backing.
To go back to your question, there's one particular instance as far as stunt choreography where I think it's probably a 2-minute sequence in the movie, 90 seconds. And I remember distinctly, Brian and I got together before anyone else. We worked through the choreography, And then I was even like in the position of some of the people, just so we could figure out what exactly we wanted for the scene. We probably spent 2 to 4 hours for that.
Is that the bar scene?
The bar scene, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And that one to me was the one that made me the most nervous, especially up front.
Yeah, we were using real swords.
Oh yeah, I'd be a little nervous. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
real swords and action and practical effects.
And you can only do one take on this one.
Well, some of them, yeah.
Why only one take?
What?
Well, with some of the practical effects,
Oh, you're breaking something that can't be replaced. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
spilling something that
Can't be
Right,
cleaned
yeah.
up too
it's
well.
a whole bunch of blood. One thing about Grindhouse, tons of blood. So you only get one shot.
we used 7 gallons of bought blood, and then we made our own also.
Yeah.
How you
so-
make for the horror fans out there? It's what syrup or something? Corn
Yeah,
syrup.
well, there's different there's different kinds.
techniques, yeah.
The most of the stuff I made was mouth blood, so I didn't have to go, so like it was like corn syrup with like red and green dye.
And a little diluted, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can. But I also had someone on set that was doing that for me, so I didn't have to necessarily make all that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we went through a lot of blood. But sorry. So with the choreography, so we spent the 2 hours planning it. Then we had all the actors in for the scene. They came in and we ran through it. We spent about 4 hours running through it. Then they came back in again, and the last time we had the DP show up. And then he like basically mock shot it while
Okay.
we did the choreography.
Right.
So like that minute and a half had a roughly 10 hours of preparation and, the practice essentially.
So pretty much you're choreographing. It's almost like a fight or dance sequence, right? Like they're moving
That's
this
how-
way.
yeah.
We're doing beats. We're stopping here. So these are stopping points, right? And then we get this part and stop, and then we'll get this because we're going to reverse the angle. And
Yeah. A lot of people go off of the beats, but everybody has a learning curve. So
Yeah.
I try to figure it out with everyone. So whether this person wants to go off of beats, this person wants to have a moment where it's just like a dance, where they're just like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the beats. But some people can just feel their way through it. That particular scene that he's talking about with anybody else, that probably would have took a day or two, literally a day or two to just get right with other productions that I've worked with.
Are you talking about shooting it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So, it ranges. It just depends. The way I teach is I fill out the actor or the actress, and then I go from there because not everybody can do the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Right,
You
right.
know? And some people it's just new to them. They don't. It's not normal. A lot of them are theatrical actors, and then a lot of them are just basic character actors. So.
Gotcha. And so developing the characters, this is probably a question for both of you, but like I'm sure that you kind of have to know what the character's about because certain characters probably aren't going to be able to do certain kind of stunts, or maybe this person's not. He's more like the mastermind kind of guy, so he's not going to do the cool kickflip or whatever because he's that type of character. So you kind of have to know the characters before going into like the choreography, right?
Oh yeah. That's what I was saying about what do you call it? The toxicity of the productions, because a lot of them come in with really, really big egos, and if you can't talk to me, I can't know who you are.
Yeah.
I can't know what your limits are. I can't know the ins and outs of you, and I just can't work with you. It's kind of hard, and then it's going to show on film. On this one, you don't see that. You kind of like overwhelmed, like, hold up, this guy just did a flip. This person just cut this person's guts out, and
Yeah.
it's a surprise with a lot of the characters in this film, which is great. That's what I like.
We did also. I remember when you came to me and you asked about specific characters. You're like, what kind of fighting style? Is this a trained fighter? Is this someone is this a street brawl? Or is it a combination of someone that's trained, but their anger gets the best of them? And they may know the training, but they just don't really care. And they're just here to kick some ass, And like, these were all things that, we talked about. And like, as a director, you're thinking about the character and you're thinking about all these little things, but sometimes you don't think about like something like that. Like, what fighting style? I may have in my head, come in and do a punch and a kick or whatever, but
there's different ways to throw a punch and a kick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Really. You can be a brawler, you can be a warrior type of a character. You can be just hell a maniac nun type character, a person that just doesn't. They have the technique, but they're just out there. You know, they don't really use the technique. They'll use it when they have to, but all in all, they're just no holds barred. They're ripping guts and cutting people up and all that stuff. So yeah, it ranges.
It did help that we had at least one actor that had a black belt in Taekwondo. I'm not sure what Jack.
I thought it was Taekwondo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ron does the parkour, so he's naturally able to do flips and like jumping off walls and just all kinds of wild stuff.
Right.
And he does quite a few things. So knowing the actor and what their strengths are, you can also build around that, and you can avoid other things.
Right.
You know?
Right. You can just highlight what their key points are.
Right.
Everyone has a limit.
Right.
Everyone. So
You were talking about egos being a leader, because it's a tough thing being a leader on the set. I mean, because, you know, be able to lead a group of people, it takes a certain skill to be able to do that. How do you break down like people's egos? Because this is what I do, but I try to make it seem like, which it is, a family when I do my comedy. That way it seems like everybody's part of the family, because, you know, it doesn't seem like there's a superstar or whatever if you kind of make that family kind of feel. Is that something like...
Yeah, I think treating everybody with respect is like the first thing. And then if I see someone stepping over a line, or you can ask him, I've asked him several times that if I was doing something that was like over the limit, like check me, tell me, you know.
I punched him in the face a few times.
Yeah. This morning, I didn't bring him coffee. He
Just
like,
right outside. Yeah.
It happened.
But you pull them aside, put them in check or whatever.
Right. That's
gotcha.
the other thing. I think.
And just talk to him, basically.
I
I
think
wouldn't even say put him in check. I mean, and just
having a conversation like human to human, but not making a big ordeal about it in front of everybody. You know, like there was a couple times where people did things that I didn't like on set, and instead of making a big production about it, I went up to them, I put my hand on their shoulder, and I just said, "Hey, can we not do that again? Can we not take that approach again?" You know, and I mean, like maybe one or two instances out of 29 shoot days on a micro budget film, that seems pretty remarkable to me, considering, you know, how hard it is to make a film, let alone a micro budget one with not the proper amount of resources.
Right.
And, you know,
because you'll see it on film. I mean, if somebody's distraught, somebody's upset, I mean, regardless if they're trying to act happy, you'll see it.
Yeah.
So it's best to talk to, and all these people are adults. If you can't talk to an adult with respect, you know, that's kind of a problem. And I've seen that a lot on different sets. But with him, he just pull him to the side and just start talking to him, not necessarily give him the third degree or anything like that. Yeah.
I think also I'm continuing to build this family of people that we're working with, and you know, if someone acted in a way, or if I'm not interested in working with them again, then that's okay too. You know, not everything has to work out. Not everything has to build. You don't have to keep everybody in your circle if they're not just right for what you're trying to do.
Right. As long as everybody commits to, like, I said, I'm going to do this, be here for these days, finish this project. I mean, that's a big thing with, like, St. Louis film. Some people, sadly, you know, they don't take it as serious as maybe you do, and then you get people to drop out, and then you got to fill that hole. Like, okay, well, this person's playing that character now; they're not showing up anymore, and stuff like that. I mean, I've had issues in my own past with people like that, which is kind of sad. But
on the flip side of that, and I'm told not to say negative things too much, but
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get in negative.
No. But I think also the filmmaker can be to blame sometimes if you don't finish projects.
Yeah.
If you don't, you know, if you're not taking it serious, I feel like I've seen a lot of people that want to make things, but they don't want to put the effort into making it. It's kind of like watching someone on like social media where they see the end result. I lost 50 pounds. You didn't watch all the workouts. You didn't watch the lack of eating. You didn't watch you know, when your friends are going out drinking, you sit at home, or you have a water, you know, like you didn't watch all the work it took to get to that. And you know, if you don't put the work in, you're not going to get, it's extremely difficult to make a bad movie. I'm telling you, it's extremely difficult to make a B movie, right? There's no easy way out. You have to do the work. And the amount of work that everyone put into this is just crazy.
Everybody has multiple hats too. Everybody's just not one job, you know.
Right. I had to I had to message the Cody Briner, who was my AD, and I said, "What credits do you want? Because what didn't you do at one point or another on set?"
Yeah.
He's like, I'll just take all of them, I guess.
Right,
Yeah.
right. He's like, just put me down for AD. That's fine. That's what we originally talked about. I was like, that's fine. I was like,
Yeah.
if you want me to put you down as a grip, and then I was like, can you give me a list of like 5 more names to make up names so we can fill out the crew. I was like, so
That way it looks like there's
yeah, the key grip is Dick Big Dickian. You know, I mean,
Oh, that's not a real guy. Oh, okay.
that's
Oh.
actually
I thought I saw him on set.
That's funny. I used to do that too. We did that too. We did a film and we just made up names for.
that's too funny.
The credits went for 3 minutes and it was all fake names. Yeah.
Perfect.
It's longer than the film.
Make it look, make it look a little more fleshed out, right? Well, you know, I think we had, I didn't count, but we had to have at least 40 different actors from the St. Louis area involved with this project.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could, if you want to. I mean, Lindsay Harmon's a good friend of mine. I love Lindsay, and she was in it, and that's how I saw the film.
Right.
Or I haven't seen the film itself, but I've seen the trailers and the promos
Keith
for it.
Nussbaum,
Yeah.
Adam Flowers.
A guy named Brian Davis.
Some guy named Brian Davis. Let's see.
Mallory Stern.
Mallory
She's not on
Stern,
social media, but she plays the lead. She's my friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard of her. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she's been in other stuff, right? Yeah.
She's done mainly, I think, mainly my stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't really like to do a lot. She's very close knit, like family. You know,
But she's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Then Jonathan May.
I love Jonathan.
May. Jennifer Bean.
Yep.
Yeah. Then
Ron Clower, who we mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah. There's too many names.
I've
See,
heard
when
of
we
all
start-
those guys. Yeah.
Shonda.
Shonda Salazar.
Shonda,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's a ton of people.
Yeah.
Even Kyle A. Lee.
Yep. John Mefford. I mean, the list could go on. and
Oh,
on.
Kyle Lee. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Kyle.
Yeah.
He's going to be on the podcast. He was been on the podcast. He's a good guy. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
going to come on again. Yeah.
Tell him he's ugly because he sent me a video saying I was ugly.
I'll make a video clip right here. I'll
Tell
send
him
it to
James says, Kyle, you're ugly.
And Alexis. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How could we forget Alexis? Yeah.
I didn't forget her. Nope. Nope. Not at all. But no. So
What's your casting process? So did you do a casting call, or did you kind of know these people and kind of reach out to them? Kind of.
So I had a few people in mind, but with a cast this large, I didn't know enough. And I also wanted to, again, extend my circle. So Mr. Brian Davis here, he knows everybody in St. Louis. So I
didn't think I did.
I reached out to him early on. He was in the short film also. He plays an entirely different character in the short film.
Okay.
He's not the only one. Jennifer also plays a different character.
Yeah, it's a real grindhouse film. You're always going to see the exact same character. The same actor playing a totally different character. I think I labeled myself as the brother, the long lost brother of of the guy that was in the first clip too. I mean, in the first film. But he got in contact with me, and oh man, it was. I just started calling people and recommending people to him, and all of them pretty much worked out.
I don't remember if you were at the first casting session, but we had probably 30 people show up, 25, 30. Some people dressed as nuns. Karen came dressed as a nun.
Yeah, you showed me some of the
Where did you
footage.
get these? I guess Giant Brock's, huh?
Yeah,
They're all nun outfits over there. Yeah.
I think some people surprisingly have these kinds of outfits laying around for whatever reason, like maybe Halloween or whatever.
Okay.
So when she showed up, Cody Briner came in. He's like, "You're not going to believe this." I was like, "I mean, do you know what we're making here?" I'll probably believe it.
Right. Did you film in churches with the nuns?
So
and was
yes.
that hard to get the location? Being like, hey, we want to use your church. We have nuns, but they're going to be beating the shit out of each other, doing some violent stuff.
So, two different churches. One asked not to be named.
Okay.
And it wasn't a Catholic church anyway, and that was in St. Louis, but we hid the angles to make it look Catholic.
Right.
And then the other one was a couple hours away, and
We don't have to say the name. I was just wondering.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
Anyone that knows,
How'd that go for you?
yeah. Anyone that
It's a
knows
story behind it. It's great.
anyone that knows like bed and breakfasts or anything, that they'll be able to recognize it. It's pretty distinct, and it's an old church. I mean, it's old.
Yeah.
So we didn't do any fights in the short film. we did do a few, like a small fight in the church, but for the most part, we didn't do any fights there.
They didn't ask what the movie was about, anything. They just,
Yeah, it's it's about a nun who's having a crisis of faith and her working through that.
beautiful.
Yeah,
I like the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
Wow.
I never told you that.
No,
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, you worked on the movie for almost 30 days and you didn't know that.
I like it. Yeah, I could have gave that that one to a few people. They was like, "So what's it about?" Oh man, it's a maniac nun. You know, I'll call him.
So funny enough, like the movie is for like at its most base level, it's an exploitation film, right? It's a film that has action, tons of gore, tons of over the top stuff, tons of over the top dialogue at times,
Nudity.
some nudity, yeah. But it also has, if you're interested, themes that are more important, like mental health. Which is something that, like, you know, like mental health and depression is something I deal with. So, like, it was important to me not to, like, exploit that. And then it also does kind of take a look at, so the lead plays a lesbian. She has a girlfriend, even though she's a nun. She also has an eye patch and a fucking katana. I mean, like, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, like, we never once tried to exploit that. Like, their relationship is very sweet and, like, it's not... You know,
I got you. Yeah,
they weren't like tonguing on screen every other second. You know, like that wasn't the point of it. You know,
No, yeah,
right.
we do have like over the top exploitation sex scenes in it, but not with them. That wasn't. I didn't want to make that relationship and those characters about that. You know, so you have all this gore and nastiness, and you know, I mean, the grindhouse voice for the trailer and the aesthetic with the film damage gives you an idea what you're in for. But if you want more, there's more there also for you.
When you do like a scene like that, that's like a sex scene or something, or how do you? I mean, obviously you're in the casting process. You're telling you let the actors know and kind of. Are they concerned the way it's going to be shot? I mean, are you kind of like, do you have to kind of explain like what it's going to look like? I mean, how do you kind of talk them into doing something like that? Yeah.
So it really does depend. I would say with sex scenes or anything, sex scenes or an assault scene or even just like a fighting scene, everything has to be discussed in advance. The angles have to be, I'm horrible at storyboarding, not the actual process of figuring out what I want the frame to look like, but I'm horrible at drawing. My stick figures makes him laugh every time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But having that available
flashback.
so an actor knows what's going to be shown and how it's going to be blocked and how we can fake certain things, like nudity perhaps. Those things are so vital, and just making sure that everyone's comfortable on set. So there's one like a scene that starts out as an assault and then the orderly gets killed very quickly after that. But even that was something that I talked to both actors involved. They talked to their significant others. They talked to each other, and together we came up with a plan that was comfortable for everyone, Right. Because like those things can be very uncomfortable, and I want everyone to feel safe on set. I mean, safety has always been a big, important thing for me.
Right. Well,
not just weapon safety, but feeling safe where you're not, I mean, these are very uncomfortable things that take place in the movie.
Yeah, you got to go home with that.
Yeah.
You got to take it home with you.
And what Brian said earlier, if they don't feel comfortable, it's going to show on the screen. Yeah.
And I mean, it's in the case of something like an assault scene, uncomfortable could
Be good.
translate very well.
Yes.
But I don't want. So it's very easy, I think, for an artist to have like these blinders on, where it's like, oh, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing, and because of that, the people start to matter less. And I don't think that's a good way to go about things. I know it's not, because people. I mean, like we're making something here, but I don't want to do it at the expense of other people.
Yeah, you can get lost in it really quick.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I got excited, especially with some of the action and gore, and so like that's when I remember how I told you I had Brian check me. I said, if at any point I'm about to do something or have these actors do something that seems a little like unsafe, tell me. We talked about it in advance, but sometimes things change the day of.
I did. I told him.
No, yeah. I mean, and
still worked out.
Yeah, but it was safer because of you. And that's important to have those people around to say, hey, I know things have changed. Today's been really hectic. We're kind of in a role now where we're doing really well. We're getting the shots done, but this shot in particular, we need to think about just a little bit longer because you are using a real sword, and that is a real person's head right there.
Right. Well, that's good to have Brian then, yeah.
Yeah, and not just Brian, other people that will kind of keep you in check,
Right.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually had a couple of actors come to me like, "Hey, stomach's kind of bothering me. I don't know if I can do this." I'm like, "I think you can." And then they'll come to me like, "I don't think I can." And then next thing you know, I'm like, "All right, that's cool. Let's figure something else out." There was a couple of them. They'd come in just sick, just not feeling tip top. So I just switch it up a little bit, and I come back to you. You didn't know that, so just to let you know.
And 29 days of shooting. Now, when you broke it down, did you go after the hard scenes first, or did you save like, okay, well, this scene with the 20 people and the fucking stunts, let's do that at the very end? Or
So initially, I was going to try to shoot it in order, which is not how a lot of productions go.
No,
and the reason for that is because, like the habits alone were a couple $100 a piece. And every time you soak something with blood, if it's the white pieces of it, you have to, the blood doesn't come out necessarily, right?
Yeah.
So we really tried to do that. But then when COVID hit, it threw everything in disarray.
Oh, so this was filmed before and in between COVID? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
So January 2020 through September of 2020.
Wow.
And
So you hit you right in the middle of it, yeah.
yeah, we took like a 2.5, 3 month break. Around that time. And then also it came down to scheduling. So if there's 2 different scenes and I know I can get to both locations and it involves the same people and it's not going to be blood and gore and everything, let's lump those together. Just from like a logistical standpoint, it just made sense to try to knock out some things like that.
Are you more of like a weekend warrior doing it every Saturday, Sunday? You got the crew coming, or did you try to do stuff like a full week shoot or? Like,
It's kind of.
It was more of like
kind of chopped up.
Yeah, it was a lot of Thursdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
And it was because that was what the availability of the key cast was ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I shoot weddings, so I'm working every weekend. And the guy that DP'd the movie, Andrew Clewin, he shoots weddings. And then most of the people that I met that ended up helping out with this, not most, but a good 5-6 people, on-set visual effects supervisor, who was also the first AC, and then my AD, and then the art director, they all shoot weddings also. So like around their schedules, like we had to figure that out. That was very difficult to do. Yeah. You start throwing in 20, 25 people. The most people we ever had on set was like 30 people.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
And I mean, like this guy here.
That was crazy.
It was such a hectic and so much that we were having to shoot.
That was a fight choreography moment.
Oh yeah.
For
Wow.
the masses. Yeah. It was a lot.
Yeah.
A lot
Wow.
of people.
That would be a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy came in and stepped up in every way possible and walked them through all these extras. 10 extras showed up just to die for like probably between 10 and 30 seconds on screen. We had 2 guys drive 5 hours to come down to die on screen. Sat around most of the day doing choreography with Brian.
Yeah.
And then we're on
respect for him.
Oh yeah, no,
I was like, wow.
amazing.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it's very humbling,
Yeah.
to think that someone went through all that and then they came down and they're going to be on screen for anywhere between 15 and 45 seconds, and they die. They do die pretty cool ways, but still, I mean, it's like,
They die very well.
Yeah,
You'll love it. As a matter of fact, it was two scenes where it was multiple people. It was a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Warehouse, and then that office building.
Oh yeah.
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 So those tons, and it's all of it's in as far as I remember it's doing all the choreography, the action scenes and stuff. So yeah,
it's and it's also weird because like, and I don't have a whole lot of directing action experience. Like this was my first real go at it, I would say. I mean, I did the short film, but like I learned so much directing this as far as action. You don't think about like continuity so much. Like the average viewer doesn't. When there's people fighting here and there's a fight going on right behind them, and the camera's facing all of it. Well, you still have to get coverage for the people fighting in the background if you're going to cut to them.
Right, and they got to be in the same kind of, somewhat same spot position,
Yeah,
maybe, right? Yeah,
continuity.
a
The
little
continuity
bit,
has
little
to
bit,
be
yeah,
right there,
a little
yeah.
bit, yeah.
And how many takes are they going to be able to go before
That's-
they're on the ground dead? Like, not dead, but like
Yeah.
just exhausted, you know?
Well, that's one of the things too. Is like when I don't know how you break a scene down, but like it matters who has the most important scene that I do first, because I don't want them to lose their energy doing like a master or shooting the overhead of the other person. So if it's this person's scene, let's get their stuff first.
Yeah.
Or if they're the most experienced, let's get them. If this guy doesn't know his lines as well, we'll get him last, because that by the time we get around to him, do that reversal, we got him. Is that how you kind of break down the scene?
So, okay, 2 other factors off the top of my head come into play. Lighting setups. So how many lighting setups we're going to do and how long that's going to take to change it, or if we're going to go back to one of the other lighting setups and maybe we could just get a few shots of that while the light is set up that way. And the other thing is, and this is something I'm just now kind of realizing, some actors will give their best performance in the first take, and some actors will take it takes them to get to the 4th or 5th take to warm up.
It takes me about 5 takes to get there. Yeah.
And there's no like right or wrong way of doing it. But sometimes if you're shooting over the shoulder and you know the one actor takes 5 or 6 takes, you might as well not be shooting them for,
Yeah, right.
yeah, you might as well be shooting that other actor over the shoulder on them instead, to let the other one do that practice and kind of start to get in the zone.
Yeah.
Tarantino does something that like most people don't even think about is he has all the toys and all the money, but when the camera's stationary, and even when it's not, when it's on a motorized movement of whatever he's using, it's all pre-programmed so he can get a clean plate. And what he'll do sometimes is, if you're shooting me and Brian and it's not, the camera's not moving, you can stitch us together. You can take our performances and you can literally cut down the middle of the scene if the lighting hasn't changed and I'm not like crossing over the line. And he's
Okay.
not crossing. And you can, so I can change, say like his reaction I didn't like just then. Like, that was not a very good wow. Let me have that again, Brian.
Wow.
There you go. That one was way better.
Right.
And you can stitch that together and you can build almost an artificial performance that it was a real performance, but it wasn't the same time. It wasn't the same take, you know? So that's something he does. That'd be something I'd be interested in trying, but right now it just sounds like more.
It sounds like a lot of work, but if you had the technical people there on set to be able to do that, if you got the James Cameron people be able to help you with all that technology, it'd be fun to do whatever.
I think it's having the right tools, and then also I definitely learned, because I know a little bit of visual effects. I hate doing it, but I know the concept, so I know what can trip you up. Sometimes I'm not great at it, but I had someone on set that was my first AC, and he was also really good at like the conceptualization of visual effects. So that's why I called him my visual effects supervisor, because when you're tired and you've been shooting 10 hours and you just have that one shot left, it's good to have someone that understands the process very fluidly, and in the ways that he did, to say, oh, well, this could trip us up, or, oh, we should do it this way instead. I know we talked about that, but the lighting has changed and the circumstances have changed. So having someone else around where it's not just you trying to think about this, when you're also thinking about schedules and what you're shooting the next day. And I mean, a director has 1,000 things on their mind, especially when there's no real significant budget.
Right. I mean, because you're doing so many other jobs that probably, if you're Quentin Tarantino, that you're really probably just focused on the acting and a lot of other things and not like have to worry about.
You have a team of people.
Sound guy over. What's the sound guy over doing over here? Yeah.
His eyes glazed over a few times. I was like, hey, James, you all right? He's like, I'm all right. Everything's good. I'm like, dude, you're walking down the steps away from everybody. You all right? So, yeah, he had a lot to deal with. But, he pulled it off, I must say. You
know what? I had an amazing team, seriously. Mm-hmm. Like, that's something that I feel like a lot of, again, ego kind of gets in the way. But, like, as a director, you get to decide what makes it through. You're like quality control, right? What gets through and what doesn't. And like, say like you show up on set and I had this vision that was just grand, but you come and you do something different. But if I'm being honest with myself, what you came and provided was so much better than what I had thought of. Like, so much better. I could either go with what I wanted because of my ego, or I could say, well, Matt just showed up, killed this scene, and elevated it in every single way. Why the hell wouldn't I use that?
Right.
And then also, you make me look better. So it's like, and you're allowing someone that's in the creative field playing in their sandbox. They're playing. Like, if you have an actor come in and you're making them do line reads, and it's like, no, you have to do it specifically this way, that's horrible. Like, there's a few lines that I like delivered the very specific way, because that's how, like, my humor works, or like how I envisioned it. But overall, if an actor comes in and has a concept or has something they want to try, I'm completely okay with that. You know, let them play. They're not here to, just give a very wooden performance that's exactly what you envisioned. This is a constantly developing process. Making a film changes from writing it to shooting it to editing it, and then even again a little bit like in sound design it can change. Right. It's crazy how it's constantly developing.
Right. It's always like what I always call is like we're trying to capture magic in a bottle. So we're trying to get that one take we got, and we captured everything perfect. The lighting, the acting, the sound was good. Yeah. The camera movement was great. We got it. We caught that one in the bottle. Now let's try to catch another shot in the bottle like that. Yeah.
It can be challenging.
Oh, it's definitely it's a tough thing to do.
Especially I think when you're trying new things, or again, pre-production, like you try to prepare for everything, but sometimes if it's something new you're attempting, even if you've tried it a few times, when you get on set, inevitably the one tool that you've played with a few times and you understand the principles of how it works, it just doesn't want to work that day.
Right.
For whatever reason, we had some idiot, me, had this idea of doing a fight that was a one take. Actually, a couple fights that were one take, and one involved
his face over here.
One involved running up the stairs and like fighting people on concrete stairs, and just the logistics of not just the choreography, but also the camera and the sound and the lighting and everything not appearing in the shot as all these things are moving. We did like 10, 11 takes of this. And I mean, the actors were just so spent by the end because they were running upstairs, doing kicks, doing punches.
And you get a boom or a light pole or something in the shot.
In this scenario, we had a camera on a gimbal, but it was also on a pole because the shot started at the base of the stairs and then kind of follows them up the stairs.
Holy smokes, wow.
So like we really were trying to do things in ways that made this look way bigger than the budget and the resources we had. And I think overall it really shows. I think it comes through on screen, I think it does.
Well, I think it looks beautiful from what I've seen, the trailers that came out. So I really, I think it's great. We got another 10 minutes here, but and so we talked about the production. Now we'll go into post-production. You edited the thing yourself?
Yeah, I edited the movie. So we wrapped at the end of September. I probably took a week just to kind of decompress from that.
Right.
And then starting in October, I started to put together like an assembly cut. I had like an assembly cut maybe February. It's like 4 months. And then a rough cut March without like finished sound.
And the writing time's like 90 minutes?
Oh, yeah, it's 85 minutes.
85 minutes, yeah.
I think the perfect runtime for like a grindhouse kind of movie is like 80, 85 minutes.
Yeah.
There's two things I think that are important. One, you don't want to overstay your welcome. And when you not constantly, but when you do something that's way off the wall, over the top crazy, don't give the audience too much time to think about it. Throw something else crazy at them. Because this is a fun ride.
Oh,
we're not,
boy.
I mean,
I had to see it before all the editing and everything. I was just like,
yeah, he saw the rough cut. He saw the rough cut.
What did you think when you saw the rough cut?
Oh,
be honest here.
Oh boy, because here's the thing.
It was before visual effects and before sound design was done. So I mean,
you don't realize how sound really ties shots together, and it doesn't seem as jarring, once you get the sound kind of smoothed out. Yeah,
and without visual effects done, it also
I was shocked. I'll put it to you like that. Yeah. I was really shocked, but it was a lot to take in, but it was so good, and it really bothered me for a moment because I wasn't there for everything. I was there for mainly the action scenes, and then he used part of my majority of my studio for a lot of the scenes because they a lot of people will use my studio for production. But yeah, the acting was phenomenal. The gore was a lot, and the shots, the way they did the angles and everything, man, oh my God, it was really, really good. I enjoyed every little bit of it. And he would always mess with me about my quote. I was like, I basically could smell the movie.
Oh yeah,
it was like that.
That's
literally.
That's great.
It doesn't make sense until you watch the movie.
Okay.
So
I'll think of the smell when I'm watching it for you, Brian.
Trust me.
If I hadn't already had the poster made, I would that would have went on the poster. Man. Brian Davis says I could practically smell this movie.
And I took a picture of myself after I watched it. I was like, "Geez, can't believe this."
Amazing, beautiful. Who did that graphic design? Because
okay, so he's out of Australia.
Oh wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So right, his name's Chris Barnes. It's at Brutal Posters on Twitter. But Chris, if you look up Chris Barnes or Brutal Posters, he does phenomenal work. He really does.
Was he in a documentary before? I think he's 24 by 36.
Maybe it's possible. I think it's quite possible he is, and I didn't know that.
There's a great documentary called 24 by 36, which talks about all the old school posters. Remember, like the Indiana Jones posters and Star Wars. Like they don't make cool posters like that anymore. No. It's all about head faces now. It's Tom Cruise face, and that's it. Yeah, for the movie.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean, because looking at this poster here, I can kind of tell what this movie is going to be about. I know what I'm getting myself into by seeing this poster.
Right. And that's honestly kind of a low res version. Like if you get the high res version, you can tell like he added creases to it to make it look like it was like something from like the old video cassette days when you go rent it and you get the poster when they're done promoting it and you just fold it up and it has the creases in the.
I felt bad because I was going to ask him like, dude, can I get an original? I mean, because I saw the creases. I'm like, that's not right. You're going to give me this? And
that's part of the graphic.
Part of the graphic. And I'm like, oh, man. Yeah. So, yeah, I can't wait to put it in the studio.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. The flyers that they created were perfect because it's showcasing that and it has a little barcode on it. You can scan it and it shows the trailer and gives you a link to the trailer, too. Yeah. So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, yeah. Awesome. So when he made the poster, though, did you have to send them clips of the movie, or you just sent them the photos?
So he also made a poster for the short film, and that's how I kind of met him.
Okay.
In that case, he took screen grabs from the short film because I actually went. It's a learning process, right? So like I didn't have the poster done until after I did the short film and released it, and I was like, I'm going to make a poster, which is like the total backwards way of doing it. But in that case, he just used what was available. In this case, I sent him raw photos, and then her with the chainsaw, we actually had to shoot that separately because the angles in the movie weren't great for a poster. So, we had like a pickup shot that we did back in March, April of this year, and when we had Mallory back, we were like, well, I know you've got bloody and you've been exhausted so many times from this movie. What's one more time? So we had her pick up the chainsaw one more time.
But she gets to be on the front of the poster, so yeah,
of course,
yeah. I mean, yeah.
And just so you know, Mallory is about like that tall.
I mean, she's like she's 5'7", but she isn't like super.
The photographer had to dig a hole and climb in the hole and get the shot.
That chainsaw is heavy.
Chainsaw is very.
Oh,
heavy.
It looks heavy. Yeah,
that's like a 60s. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how the hell someone actually used that to chop down something. Like
money. All they could think about was, I'm getting paid to do this. I got to figure something out. But that's a very heavy chainsaw.
During the scenes with that, we had someone stand by, and not that she's like weak, but like holding it for 45 minutes when you're resetting constantly with blood and cleaning the floor and everything. Someone held it for her in between takes, and it wasn't like that was something she requested. It was just that we knew. Like, especially when you've already been on set for 10 hours and you've already killed a couple other Nazis. I mean, you need...
Did she have to hold it when it's turned on, though? Because that thing probably had some kick on it, like,
No, it didn't cut on. We had a slight problem.
Yeah.
I found that I got in that... That was the one that I got, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Did I get the other one?
Cody got that one. Yeah.
So I got the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So much. All right. But no, we used that one for the close-up shots, and then we had a.
This was more for like an aesthetic thing.
A functioning chainsaw for the next shot. I can't give you any more.
Yeah.
More info on it. You'll see.
We don't like Nazis, so we definitely kill them in the most gruesome fashion.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna wrap it up here. So we got the big premiere, the 21st, 7 p.m. Skyview Drive-In.
Movie starts at 8. We do have a couple short films that are going to play beforehand. The gate opens at 7, so you can come and hang out. But the movie starts at 8. Yeah.
And $12 a door. You're going to do a red carpet. You kind of doing like the whole local ambition kind of deal where you got.
So nothing against anyone that does red carpets, but I don't think I'm that guy. I decided, I posted on Facebook the other day that if you want a red carpet, let's get a white one, and then we'll bring my enemies and I'll cut their throats, and their blood can soak the carpet will be red then. I'm just not. Maybe one day. I'm not.
Yeah, for this one, it doesn't match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just something that I'll grow into also. Like most people do red carpets. They changed the marquee out with the name. We're going to do photos there, It's just going to be awesome to see. This movie, in the writing process, I thought to myself, if this movie can be shown at a drive-in, that is the perfect way to experience this movie.
It's paying homage to the original genre.
Right.
Yeah, so...
Like, this is the movie that at midnight, after your kids have fallen asleep, this is the B movie. This is the second movie that plays, right? If you're going to a drive-in in the 70s, this is the second movie that plays. You may have already had a couple beers. You've already, had 5 or 6 hot dogs. You feel like shit. And you're, half awake, and maybe you had a drink or two, and you're, not sure if this is reality or not. And you watch this movie, and you leave, and you're like, that was awesome, but was that a fever dream?
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. So, thank you both. Talk about real fast. Let's do a little pitch for your Logic. It's Logic.
Logic Self-Defense Fight Choreography Multimedia Studio.
And where's this located? I'm
at 1210 Washington Ave downtown, right near the intersection of Washington and Tucker. Yeah. So I actually teach self-defense. Privately. I'm a private self-defense instructor. I do seminars as well, along with renting my studio out for production companies. I have movie set walls, from Maniac 9 that can be moved around, and you can create a full set, movie set for yourself. Then I do the fight choreography. I teach actors, actresses, cinematographers, directors on how to sell the shot. So I'm all in one.
Wow, I've known of you for a long time, but I finally met you today. So it's cool. That's one cool thing about the podcast. You build it, they will come. So yeah.
Sweet.
And have you thought of the next project?
We're already writing it and developing it. The next
great.
Real big project.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It's so picture Conan the Barbarian meets Evil Dead. Okay, so I'm big on gore. If you haven't already figured that out,
I kind of got that.
I'm big on gore. So with some comedy, we need some comedy because this is a very heavy. So it's called Andrew the Barbarian. And anyone that goes to the drive-in will see a sneak peek at what we've been working on. And he's over here.
Bodybuilder guy who's playing the Conan kind of character.
Funny enough, he's not a bodybuilder type, but he has a very magnificent beard.
Man,
he was
actually amazing.
He was the DP for this film. He shot this film, and he's done acting as well in the past. Andrew Clewin.
Okay.
And he big red bushy beard, and I mean he has a nice physique.
He's a big dude.
He's big. He works out, but he has more of the less of the I just spent 6 hours on the beach working out staring at girls' asses, and more of
don't give me a hug, it's gonna hurt. That type of
he works out, but he has more of the barbarian aesthetic, in my opinion.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it's a show we're working on. I don't think we're going to start filming until spring of next year, but Mr. Brian Davis is one of the co-leads.
Nice.
This
guy here. Let me give you one of these, Brian. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Along with Alexis Austriaco, and we'll have other local actors also that are going to be involved. Tons, actually. And a lot of people that were somehow involved with Fontaine and the Vengeful Nun that Wouldn't Die will be coming back in some other capacity. Okay. Brian gets to be a good guy.
Yeah,
maybe the best one.
I wear a 3-piece suit.
Yeah,
and I got a wand.
And he has a wand. He's
a
wizard.
Oh man, like Harry Potter.
Yeah, and I do martial arts and stuff. So
maybe
I'm gonna.
Let's not get too carried away.
No, we're gonna do martial arts. Yep, and and it's a whole bunch of magic. We got barbarians. We got stuff. Yeah. So
I'm excited. It's something different, and It's not quite as in your face, but it's definitely going to be over the top gory, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be challenging in a whole new set of ways. So,
And if we have a lot of actors that watch this podcast in the community here, if they're interested, Monster Kid Productions is the production company here to check out.
Yeah, that's
message you.
That's definitely the best way. On Twitter, I'm at JamesD7004.
Okay.
I also have at Maniac_none on there for the feature film. But yeah. I mean, there's tons of ways
I know already a bunch of actors that I know that after I show them this trailer, they're going to be hitting you up. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Totally forgot. You can get in contact with me through logicmartialarts@gmail.com or give me a call at 314-594-7340. That's the office number, and you can get in contact with me through my cell, too.
We'll be friends on Facebook after. Send me the information. I'll put it
Not
in
a
the
problem.
description. So anybody
you.
watching this podcast, all the information for both of these guys will be at the bottom.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Finally, great to finally meet you both. And definitely subscribe to the Daily Dirt with Dustin Diggs. We do podcasts every day, and like the Irish United Network on Facebook. And thank you for watching.